friends, welcome back to the Film Alchemist podcast, the show where we take the movies we love, break them apart, to find out what gives them their magic, space magic. I'm your host, Josh Griffey, joined as always by our third co-host, the person we call when our space station is derelict and abandoned and we need help, Carmelita Valdez McKoy. Welcome back.
Hello, friend.
We find ourselves at the Critters Go to Space installment of the franchise. This was something in the 90s. First, you go to the big city, then you go to space. So we find ourselves at space before we have a big time jump, and we finish with Critters Attack tomorrow. This is the October Mega Marathon. You guys know the deal. 31 days, 31 brand new horror movie podcasts just for you guys. We hope you're enjoying it. We hope you've gone back and listened to the other franchises and enjoyed those as well. Please be sure to share with all your horror-loving friends what we are up to this month. The more people we invite, the better it is for us, man. We love that. Also, this month, if you want all 31 pods, you got to go support the show on Patreon, patreon.com/filmalchemistpod. There will be 3 episodes over there. Why would you want 28? Get the 31.
You want more. You want more Film Alchemist.
3 episodes over there, right? So we're not asking for money with now, putting in the work. We have a huge Patreon exclusive library. We got commentaries, miniseries, Tales from the Crypt, probably appeals to our horror-loving fans. We work really hard over there to make that worth your while. We have a wonderful community that we're cultivating of our friends over there. So if you'd be so kind, if you have a couple extra dollars for this month, patreon.com/filmalchemistpod. It is the lifeblood for shows like us. So thank you in advance. Make sure you go subscribe to the YouTube channel, Film Alchemist. The email, filmalchemistpod@gmail.com. We're on all the socials, including TikTok. We'd love for you to help us grow the TikTok. These things are important now, they keep telling us. They keep telling us old people this is important, so help us out. Make sure you're leaving 5-star ratings and reviews to help us defeat the algorithm, the evil company that's trying to murder our whole planet for real estate, right? That's where we find ourselves in today's day. Make sure that you go over to misfitparade.net and see the movies we're making. Our film Sugar Tits is out on the festival circuit. You might be able to come watch it with us. That would be wonderful. So misfitparade.net, join the parade over there. And make sure you check out the video working I'm doing for Looper. Looper's a huge company. You might already follow them, right? Find them on YouTube and all the social media. Also, make sure to follow Carmelita at Carmelita Says on Letterboxd and Twitter so you can get more awesome Carmelita in your life.
Yeah.
Oh, for YouTube, you saw the smile. Yeah. For the audio audience, they're like, uh-oh. She abandoned the pod. She's tired of hearing the intro for the 4th time.
No, I love the intro.
It's what you got to do, man. It's not as fulfilling, but, like franchise, you just got to have entries. You got to have entries. Got to push the almighty offering before the dollar and the algorithm. Those are the gods. Like Conan had Crom. We have the dollar and the algorithm. Those are our gods, sadly. It's just the way it is. Speaking of the way it is, I don't think we're in Kansas anymore.
We're not in Kansas anymore.
In Critters 4, we blast off to space to do what I guess you would say is kind of an Aliens riff, right?
Yes.
We're doing a little Alien in our Critters. Not as effectively, right? Is there a scene where they just have like a garden hose caddy in the middle of the giant, kind of warehouse for spaceships? Yeah.
Yeah.
Was that a great choice? No. But does it matter? Also, no. We are back with a Critters regular. We've got an amazing cast. Somehow they have 2 Oscar nominees. I think Brad Dourif won an Oscar.
This is crazy.
So you have Brad Dourif and Angela Bassett in this movie, which is fucking
the craziest
wild
thing. And
how they keep pulling this off, I'll never know.
I don't know, but so if there's anyone who's saying, man, I don't want to watch Critters 4, don't make me do this. Film Alchemist friends, don't make me watch Critters 4. But it's Brad Dourif and Angela Bassett, though.
And it's also, to me, a huge step up from part 3. Because what they did is part 3 had no sci-fi. This one is all sci-fi.
It's all sci-fi.
I would say the scariness of the monsters is back in a fun way.
Yeah.
I think you could argue that the critter puppets in this are astounding. Maybe the best we've seen in the franchise. Like, these puppets look really cool to me.
They look great.
The space station is a fun, you can't escape place for,
Yes.
carnivorous monsters.
And you really can't because it's space. There's nowhere to
It's
go.
a derelict space station with a rapidly collapsing nuclear reactor. That's
Yes.
it. It's a great pressure cooker. We get the redemption of Charlie. We get to see Ugg again. So there's a lot of the familiar. There's a lot of new. The setting is used much better. So I think this one course corrects over a lot of the things that kind of chat my ass about part 3. So,
Agreed.
Carmelita, I don't know where you stand on this, how you feel about Critters 4. But to me, this is a kind of return to form for Critters that I was happy to see.
No, I agree. I think that it is. And I love science fiction. Excuse me. I love science fiction. One of my favorite genres. So that aspect of this is great. This cast is great. The tone of Critters 4 is a lot more grown up.
It feels like they've readjusted the ratios, right? We always talked
Yes.
about the horror, science fiction, and the comedy kind of intermingling. This movie feels like it got it right. If anything, you'd
It
say
gets closer.
they turned the comedy down more than any of the other
They
movies.
did. They turned the comedy down, which I I mean that appeals to me. I do think we could have had a little more horror though.
Potentially, yeah. If this one has kind of a black eye, I think it is. Let me see if I actually wrote this down. It is about 37 minutes in before we really start introducing the Crites in a big way.
Yeah.
That is fucking absurd in an hour and a half long movie.
Yeah.
Even I think this one adding the, humans who have been far from Earth. We had a young boy who pines for Earth, right? He watches Westerns. He has baseball mitts in space.
He's never been here, clearly.
He is so obsessed, right? It's like a kid who finds an old band they'll never get to see.
Yes.
And they love it, and that's their personality.
I'm
He is
that
obsessed.
kid.
Yeah, we were all that kid, right? Even
Yeah.
being raised when we were, right? Without the internet, you had to go find shit, right? And so a lot of your fandoms were like that. But these humans far away from Earth that just want to go home, right? Charlie has been lost for 50-some years in this tube that collects the eggs, right?
Yeah.
Even all that. I like that. The new characters have a little more, they're a little sturdier, right? Like the characters matter a little more.
Yeah.
They have relationships. I don't know that they find the EQ in how much screen time they all need. They never really settle on like who we're watching.
True.
Like who matters. But even though I like a lot of that shit, 37 minutes before we start the Crites is just, it's too fucking long.
Yeah.
It's too fucking long. That's kind of the big, like, if you can survive that, there's a lot of really fun movie after that. Let me ask you this. Did they reshoot the credit sequence from part 3? It felt like they reshot that.
I was wondering that myself.
Yeah, because it looks the same to the point where I was like, but I think they reshot it. Like there are different lines for sure.
Yeah, there's different lines.
They could have just been voiceover, but it feels like they redid it.
Yeah, that. Well, and this is, and I didn't do this on purpose, but the Critters franchise has a lot of parallels as it goes on to Phantasm, which we did last year.
Go check out our Phantasm franchise recap from last year.
Yeah. After you listen to all 31 episodes from this year.
Mm-hmm. That's right. Do that
first. But yes, we did Phantasm last year, and there's definitely some parallels here. And I like that because I was thinking when we watched 3 and you finally get some sci-fi in that closing credit sequence and the kind of little post-credit epilogue, that if someone was watching Critters 3 and hated it, and the minute the credits hit, they were like, shut this crap off, they missed this very vital piece of information.
They did.
But never fear. If
Yeah.
If those same people said, I'm going to give Critters 4 a chance,
Yeah.
no worries. They're going to hand you the information you might have
Yeah.
missed.
My argument would be, you already shot it. Why? It felt
Why
like
shoot
they
it again?
reshot it.
I don't know.
It's close enough. And shame on me. I guess Critters 3 burned me so bad. I was like, I'm not really that interested in going back and re-looking at it. I think they reshot it.
Maybe they did.
I think they fucking reshot it.
Maybe they
Which
did.
is just
I don't
a
know
weird
why.
choice to start. Not that
These-
that matters. I
These
don't know
two,
why.
well, and this is weird too. These films were released like a year apart, right?
Yeah, because Critters 3 has the first, like, to be continued.
Yes.
So there was clearly an idea of running this out, sending it back to space. So there was at least an idea in there. It feels like they should have just, like Peter Jackson did, and done them both at the same time.
Right, yeah.
So yeah, they came out quick after each other, yeah.
Yeah, they're only a year apart. So I enjoyed the sci-fi of this. The cast is really the big draw.
Oh yeah.
On here, and again, the Crites look great. Yeah, the balance was better in terms of the genre elements than in 3. No question. I would have liked a little more horror.
Yeah, well, especially when it's like you're kind of doing Alien. Like, it's not a very well masked Alien riff, right?
Not at all.
The difference is Critters has never been that kind of movie.
No.
Right? So there's always a threshold to which you cannot draw much more horror out of a movie that wants to wink and nod at you all the time.
Yeah.
But I think the difference in this movie that we see is like when the captain, who's played by, was that Don? No, that's Don Keith
Anders
Opper.
Hove.
Yeah, so Don Keith Opper is Charlie, right? So Anders Hove, when he gets fucking killed by the Crites, and they fucking bury into his face, and they have that giant, like, Nightmare on Elm Street, huge cheeks. Again, you always forget this is a New Line movie, so they probably were like, oh, we saw that gag. That would be great for Critters.
Right.
That critter, like, going into his face and his face bulging, and we see the critter chewing at the soft pink flesh inside. That might be the new best kill in the franchise. Like, that's up there with the ball rolling over the guy in the field.
Yeah,
it's not
it's cathartic.
It's not as funny, but visually it's awesome. The puppet looks awesome. And it's actually fucking scary. The thought of one of these things getting in you and chewing you up from the inside out, it's kind of a face hugger moment. The one thing we've never really seen a face hugger do is, like, the damage inside, right?
Yeah.
So that immediately, after this long fucking wait, and the captain fucking brains the kid with the fire extinguisher, you're like, uh-oh, things are falling apart. Because we also get, like, an Angela Bassett, like, a lot of butt and through the steamy glass, so it might have been a body double.
Yeah.
But we get a lot of that, and the captain's just like, I got this.
The captain's a total creep.
Yeah, she punches him, and he's like, well, that's it. I'm going to just fucking destroy everything.
Yeah.
Shoots the pot open with Charlie, and the Crites eat him. You're like, okay, so I've waited a long time. I just got some nice, like, cloudy glass showering, and now a great Critters kill. You're like, all right, now we're in the movie.
Yes.
So again, I think the sin of the movie is if you can make it through those 37 minutes. Really like 35 if you're excited by the shower stuff. Now the movie takes off and becomes really fun, right?
Yeah.
Because what we realize now is that the Intergalactic Council has disbanded, right? So we don't have to know much more than that. We just know that things didn't go well. It gives you this sense that now we are all on our own in a kind of horrifying way to add to a space movie, right? Now we have Terror Corp, or whatever they're called, very much like Wayland Yutani or whatnot in Aliens.
Absolutely. No question.
The capitalist will step in and fill the void that, you know, peaceful intergalactic bodies that rule through, you know, compromise and utopian ideals. Capitalism, even in space, will always find a way. Capitalism is really the critter that eats up societies and destroys
It is
us.
the infestation that will be the end of us all.
Yeah, like someday we're all going to die, and it's going to be directly tied to someone's capitalist decision. It's just the way it's going to be. And so that kind of becomes fun, because what we learn is that this space station was abandoned, right? We don't really know why. What they're doing on this space station is finding species that are critters-like. They have these pods where they can rapidly grow them, right? Force them through their life cycles faster to grow them. which becomes a great plot device for a movie that starts with the last two Crites.
Yes.
We got to book this up, right?
That's smart.
But we see that they're trying, and they're like, that we're trying to find these species that can rapidly reproduce and are carnivorous, so we can drop them on small planets, not small planet, any planet, right? And that these creatures will take over, kill everything, and then we will have all of this new real estate.
Right.
So it's an intergalactic real estate scheme, right? There is something so kind of cold and calculating and capitalist about that kind of shit in movies does scare me. Because it's not that hard to imagine a person with that kind of a motive. Yeah, we'll just fucking, we'll give them blankets infected with disease and whatever,
Yes.
Like, that shit scares me because that's one of those, it's not a monster from the depths of space that has evolved to destroy us. It's our own inner monster.
No, it's
right?
humanity.
Yeah, the critters are just an extension of our own fucking teeth and jaws.
Yeah, I mean, and this is always the thing.
That is a great science fiction scary element.
Yes, this is always the thing about the dream of space travel and finding inhabitable planets. How far could the human race move out into space?
Mm-hmm.
And I love that idea, and that fires up my imagination. What other places in the galaxy could we explore? But there's always that, we'll just do the same shit.
Yeah, the problem is no matter how far we run, when we get there, there will be humans there.
Yes.
Right? And it's all of the best horror stories play on the fact that at some level we become monsters ourselves. We are complicit in monstrous acts, right?
Always. Those are always the best ones.
To save ourselves, right? Because as I say, capitalism will destroy us. We all have a capitalist nature, right? Is that if it comes down between me and you, almost everyone chooses me.
Sure.
Almost everyone. It's built in at a genetic level, right? Capitalism is just an extension of what we are as a species. We are an inherently selfish and greedy and consumptive species. All we do is consume so much more than we ever need and destroy everything around us, right? So when you hear the critters described in that science recording video, you're like, yeah, that sounds fucking familiar.
Yeah.
And it's wonderful, right? It's this great place where you watch these last little bits of humanity. Although they don't really say Earth might be fine. We don't really talk about that.
It's a little vague because the boy believes our child protagonist, Ethan, he believes his father is on Earth.
Yeah, Doesn't he has it marked on the calendar. He's going to get to go to Earth, right? And this kid looks like he's like 18.
Yeah.
So, the math and all this, like, who knows? But it seems like Earth is okay, right? Once the critters were taken off of it. It does let you know, it's like, hey, we made it another 50 years, which weirdly is pretty close to the time we live in now. Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So as they're up there fighting Crites, we're down here doing exactly what we're doing. So Earth is okay?
It's very Philip K. Dick, this idea of some people live on Earth, some humans live in space colonies, and then the tension between who gets to go to space and who's stuck on Earth or vice versa.
Yeah. What's the value? Like, what is out there that should be ours because we're the new explorers, and what has to come back? Yeah. I love science fiction stories like that.
Me too.
So, what do you make of the Crites in this film? Let's start with the Crites.
They're scarier than in 3. So we're getting back to that form. There's not as much of the silliness. Do you think this is the best
that the Crite puppets have looked?
I mean, they look amazing in this,
They look fucking great, man.
They
really thought
good.
It was kind of one of those, I was like, is this the best they've looked? I feel like people will argue, too, because of the Crite ball and this and that.
Yeah.
I feel like they're a little more fluid in this one. They move a little better. I really think this might be the best they've looked. Yeah.
The baby Crites that kill Captain Creep.
How about the fetal Crite?
Oh,
when it's in the chamber, it's like, rah, rah, and they're growing it. I was like, that is fucking cool, man.
That looks
love
cool.
that. Yeah.
That looks cool. Yeah. So, I thought the Crites were great.
Yeah.
And like I said, I would have liked to have seen more of them.
Well, okay, so our new addition to the Crite mythology in this one is we see the two of them have immediately got out, ate 2 people, and got busy, right? They had to go make a bunch of eggs. So this is like the first time we've specifically seen that it takes two of them and it happens super fucking fast.
Very
There's
fast.
a moment where they're talking and they say, like, this father to a wife, Crite, I'll go prepare the ship, you get the kids.
Yeah.
So the eggs are not always just something they leave behind because they can make so many. There is this kind of familial structure. Like, they understand the need to reproduce more. Not family in our sense, like they care. They just know they need more. Right? So they can keep this giant incest ball moving forward. But I thought that was weirdly, and it's in Crite language, which is like my secret catnip of the series.
Yes.
But even that was like a kind of a nice addition, right? Because at this point, you got to add new stuff to it. I thought that was a really cool moment
that was cool. Yeah. I like that too. And it's kind of funny, you know, every Critters movie has a family. Used better in some installments than others. Kind of interesting that in this one, the real family is the Crite family.
Yeah, dude.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah, dude. Not bad. I just thought, the kill was great. Like the first kill, the watching it be forced through the evolution. When the stormtroopers get caught in the lab and there's all the bigger Crites everywhere, I was like, that's fucking great.
And they look like stormtroopers. They're clearly stormtrooper
They look
ripoffs.
like, dime store stormtroopers for sure.
Yes. Wish.com stormtroopers.
Yeah, exactly. That's fine with me. I don't care.
Yeah, it is.
If you're ripping off the great stuff, we know you're ripping it off. You don't have to do it as
Absolutely.
good because we know what you're trying to do. The cast. So I fucking love Brad Dourif. He is such an incredible fucking actor.
Every time. Never disappoints.
So fucking good, man. And him and Angela Bassett, it feels like if the movie would have calibrated more to them. Because we kind of are doing this alien, right? This is like a crew, right? Like a hauling, salvage crew, whatever their jobs are. This is like a rugged crew in space, right? We got Leo from Twin Peaks who's out there just trying to find pills. The captain kind of looks like Bob from Twin Peaks.
Yeah.
Right? So you got like your two bad, tough guys. Brad Dourif's Albert is the smart guy. Angela Bassett's the badass, won't take no shit. And then Ethan, like, why the fuck is Ethan here?
Yeah, what's this kid doing here?
Why is this kid here? Yeah, they never really seem to find the balance on that super well. And it is hard when you have an ensemble cast like that to find the balance. Who do you think should have been our focal point character?
I mean, this is difficult, right? Because if you make it Angela Bassett, then it's like so clearly alien.
I mean, I would argue it is anyways.
It is anyways.
And Angela Bassett feels like she's the one delivering like the big moments.
Yeah. She's excellent. She's so good.
She's so good.
She's so good. She's so good
Brad
in this.
Dourif being the like kind of like nerdy voice of reason guy, I don't know that that's where it lands, right?
Right. He's a great character. We never quite
get to like those two versus the other two.
Yeah.
Right? And then there's a point where they're like, no, it's Ethan. And you're like, no, it's Ethan. Ew.
And I wonder if they thought that they needed to have a kid, a young teen, because every movie in the franchise has had a young teen that's like the focal character. They thought they were going
back to the fucking Leo well. They're like, this kid went on to do some stuff,
Yeah, in this sequel, I think having the kid be our constant, be our go-to character doesn't work as well, especially when you have Angela Bassett's character and Brad Dourif's character, who are inherently more interesting, make more sense for being there.
Yeah. Well, it's the other ones all have, like you said, they're kind of family horror films, right? Watch with your kids, get some laughs at the funny aliens. So it makes sense on a production level you would have a kid there, right? As the surrogate for the young audience. Sure. This one doesn't have any of that.
Yeah.
35 minutes of like intergalactic like salvage policy and then kind of a little more brutal kills. Like this one feels a little more adult in tone. I would have just made Ethan another dude. Or make him like the coming of age son of Albert, right? So like he has more stakes to try to like be tougher than his nerdy lot in life. See, I don't know that they found... It's funny because the crew is... They end up being great because they all give such good performances.
Yes.
But the movie never kind of like settles on how to use anyone. Right? We have this like kind of quirky AI of the ship, right? Like a derelict Alexa who can't do her job.
Okay. The whole thing, and I love the ship computer characters in movies. Obviously, 2001 Space Odyssey, Hal is a classic, but there have been others in
I wonder if
television
Hal's
and film.
rolling over in his digital grave that he's being compared to the AI for criticism.
Angela, the fact that Angela does the opposite of what you tell her.
Yeah, well, also that they keep saying Angela while Angela Bassett's in the scene. I was like, this
That's
is confusing
weird.
as fuck to me.
Yes, that's
I know
weird.
she wasn't Angela Bassett yet.
No.
But that was throwing me off, too.
But to us, she's Angela Bassett.
Yeah, to us, she's Angela fucking Bassett. Yeah.
And I'm not really paying attention to the character names in this one.
Oh, no, I don't know any of their names. Like,
right,
I remember Albert, because that was like, there was a moment at the end where it mattered.
Right. So yeah, every time they say Angela, I'm like, wait, what?
Yeah,
And then
what? What the hell did you just say?
And I feel like the computer doing you having to tell the computer the opposite thing from what you want so that it'll do it. That's kind of a little bit of a childish thing.
It's one of those quirky screenwriter things. It gives you an obstacle. It gives you like something to kind of find a rhythm, like a little callback. Like, this will make
computers don't
it
work
feel
like
authentic.
that.
Yeah, it's degraded by radiation. Is that what they're trying to say? Yeah,
I maybe.
All right.
I don't know.
Maybe everyone just left the station. Is like, I'm fucking sick of this. I'm sick of this Looney Tunes bullshit.
I do appreciate that the captain is such a creep that in my notes he was Captain Creep.
Yeah.
They establish how much of an asshole creep he is.
Yeah.
And we don't waste any time in seeing that.
None.
And then and then he's one of the best kills, which is very cathartic.
I mean,
really
probably
like
the first or second best kill in the franchise. Like part 3 has none to offer. Part 1, it's not the kills that are the star. I still think Jeffrey getting pulled under the cop car is just a great moment. That's probably the third favorite of mine. But yeah, I mean, I think it's this or the Ball of Death, whichever one you think is the best.
Yeah.
All right, let's start here. Charlie is back. Charlie in a more redemptive role. He's still kind of a dullard.
Thank you.
But he's got his Colt 45. Right? He's the one who shoots out the ship. What did you make of Charlie in this installment?
I was so happy to see him kind of a reset back to where, in terms of his demeanor and his capabilities, kind of back to where he was at the end of 2.
Yes, it's almost as if the more he's on the space station, the more he remembers who he became.
Yeah.
The last time he was in space. Until the very end, they still can't help but be mean to Charlie.
I know.
Where she's just like, Charlie, just sit in your fucking seat and don't do anything. And he's
don't do anything.
All right, I'm going to press this button for no reason. Woo! And the ship spirals off and like circus music starts. And you're like, wait, what?
What?
Anywho, it seems like a weird tag after that insanely dramatic finale for Charlie. Like, so we have our classic running around. He's kind of telling them how to defend themselves against Crites. He doesn't do a lot in the movie, right? He has his Colt 45 moment, which ends up fucking the whole ship. His confrontation with the returned Ugg.
Okay, yeah, we have to talk about this.
We got to talk about this. This is kind of the whole big franchise moment of this film.
It's confusing.
Well, first off, I thought they were hinting that this wasn't Ugg anymore. So we're 50-some years in the future, and he's still wearing his 80s rock star face. But then he clearly knows Charlie. So, I guess not clearly. This is what I'd ask you. Is this Ugg as we know him, or is this a different version of Ugg who's claimed the mantle and at least knows enough about Charlie to try to use it to his advantage? Because if you're a shapeshifter, you probably know how to utilize information for the face that you are wielding to take advantage of people, right? Do you think this is our Ugg?
I have no idea.
I want to say no, because if it's our Ugg, it hurts.
Yeah, it makes no sense.
The last time we saw our Ugg, he lost Lee. He had gone faceless.
Yeah.
He saw Charlie be a hero, which gave him the impetus to take Charlie's face and go away, right? Like, I'll go back and, like, be the Charlie my universe needs, right? This feels like, not to fucking open a can of worms, right? But this is how people felt when they watched Last Jedi. And they're like, my Luke Skywalker doesn't just give up and try to kill a kid, right? He's hope. He's this and that. Again, I'm not trying to weigh in on that fucking debate. I'm just saying it is one of those, like, a character's been gone for a while. And all of a sudden, he's a complete evil corporate piece of shit. Because even at the end of part 3, when he says you can't destroy the last 2 of his species, even though we know at the start of part 2, they sent them back because they didn't eradicate the whole species.
Right.
I guess you could say maybe there were some on another world, blah, blah, blah. It felt weird. It's like, why are they telling us to save the Crites other than sequels? Now we have an answer to that, at least.
Sure.
Do you think our Ugg could have fallen so far down the rabbit hole?
No. I mean, it doesn't make any sense. This is the one aspect of this movie that I was like, what the fuck is happening?
Yeah, because a theory I had is that, you know, Charlie's signal, his communicator, never goes off until they know they're down to the last 2 Crite eggs. And then,
right,
you know, ironic timing, it goes off immediately then, right? The silence through the void is answered or filled.
Yeah.
Maybe the shapeshifter usurped Ugg's persona.
Maybe.
Because technically, Ugg should look like Charlie the last time we saw him, right? He takes Charlie's face.
Right.
So maybe in his records, he sees this is an Ugg that will draw the sympathy out of, or a face that will draw the sympathy out of Charlie. Make him go against his better judgment and not destroy the egg so that the company can have him. Under the guise of intergalactic law, which Charlie would clearly not know.
No. So here's something interesting that I was thinking about. When, you know, because when we see this counselor Tetra or whatever he's called on the video screen, I'm like, oh, is that Ugg? They can't be Ugg.
Yeah.
Maybe they just wanted to use Terrence Mann again. And then when they do finally face off, and at first, this guy wearing Ugg's face plays it off like he doesn't know Charlie. And then he kind of slips up, and it seems like he does know Charlie. So then I'm really confused.
Yeah, then he's like, things change, my friend, Charlie, my friend. And you're like, oh, maybe that's him being like, oh, yeah, this is the face I'm occupying.
Right, maybe.
So it felt like he was sliding back into a role, perhaps.
Yeah, it's weird. But what I
don't want this to be our Ugg.
No, what I thought about was Alien 3.
Okay.
When they send... they send Bishop.
The new Bishop, yeah.
Right?
I mean, yeah,
to
that's what it feels like. Because why, after the Crites murdered Lee, who we never know, like, if is his life partner, or they bonded in a way beyond just like they worked. Like, we watch him howl in agony. It's a long jump to say that guy now wants to spread the Crites on another planet just so he can make some real estate money.
Right.
I know he was a bounty hunter, right? That the dollar should rule, but it felt
off. and this is something, now that you and I are talking about this, I think that's one of the missed opportunities of this. This could have been the installment, because it's set entirely in space and it's leaning more into the sci-fi. This could have been the installment where we talk more about space hierarchies.
What happened to the council
and the bounty hunters. Because we don't know. Are the bounty hunters, is this like a species thing? Or is bounty hunter just a job? Just like any other job, and you can be a bounty hunter for a while and then do some other job. I don't know.
Yeah, well, it's one of those. I remember I was listening to this podcast I love, Imaginary Worlds, right? In one of the episodes, they talk about world building, right? And that's something I'm always fascinated in. And they talk about how, like, Harry Potter has horrendous world building, right? That we give it all this credit for creating this magical world. But this expert kind of went through and he's like, if you look at the reality of a world that Harry Potter occupies, right?
Yeah.
Why do we have brooms when people can turn into smoke and just fly around, right? And they can go by like, there's all these like moments in Harry Potter where they create new magic that would offer like big problems to the world. Like, how could you have a functioning wizard government when even like third graders can concoct a potion where they can look like anyone?
Yeah.
How can you
that's
get
a
into
problem.
the Ministry of Magic and there's no way that they don't have like a defense against that most common spell that a third grader can do? Right? And it's one of those, you extrapolate that out, right? If you run a government where there's an entire species that can shapeshift to look like anyone or anything, we see them become a Crite even.
Right.
The political intrigue and possible malfeasance is infinite, right? The paranoia would be a lot. So I think there was a kind of, and again, I think we're talking about a franchise that Critters never was, right? We're like, we want to know this political intrigue.
Of course.
But if nothing else, if you're going to bring Ugg back, maybe he just goes, the reason Lee died is the ineffectual council. I went in and fucked them up Palpatine style.
Right.
And now I will destroy my weak political enemies with the Crites.
Bridge the gap, right?
Yeah, the Crites will now become a weapon that I wield. Like, there's something there. Again, I don't think Critters has ever worried about dramatics. I think maybe in part 2, they just got lucky that we were more invested in those characters than they imagined. But I can't accept that this is our Ugg, that he would see Charlie, the man that inspired. I like to think our Ugg was Charlie until he was dispatched or he's still out there as Charlie.
Yeah. Because
Charlie to him was a real hero and a friend.
I want to believe.
Yeah. And watching Charlie, just that, people change, Ugg, and fucking shoots him right in the goddamn head. Like, it's a moment of, like, pure, true violence, the likes of which we've never seen in a Critters. Like, they don't really dwell on it. We don't get, like, gross close-ups, but it's like there's no fun in that violence.
It's a shock.
It's the violence in this series that is not fun, which we've never seen. It's like a real grown-up moment.
Yeah. Of
this man killing who might be his only fucking friend left in the universe.
In the galaxy. Like,
the entire realm of his existence. This might be the only person that knows that he's somebody, that he has a bond with, and he fucking shoots him right in the face. Because he wants to use the Crites for evil.
It's kind of intense.
It's a powerful, really good moment. And especially for, Charlie, who has not always gotten the most respect in the franchise, but is in all the fucking movies.
Yeah.
That's a pretty fucking amazing kind of character capper to then just have him press a fucking Acme button. And whoa! It's like, come on now. Come on, motherfucker. But I thought that moment was great.
It is, yes.
I love the end of that. Even though it's kind of one of those, like, wait, aren't there a bunch of, like, grown-up Crites in the lab? We're just not going back to Crites. They're telling us in this moment Charlie is more important than the titular critters that we've come to watch.
Right. Well, I mean, the thing is the nuclear reactor is going to blow, so.
But there's so much time of, like, Ethan just kind of, like, slowly walking up to things and pontificating, and you're like, it feels like he should have gotten attacked.
That is something that happened in
like
3.
in Aliens, they're trying to escape, right? There's fucking creatures everywhere that you got to fight through.
Yeah.
And the queen is chasing you off the planet.
Yes. That's something in this one too that kind of there.
He just goes back to takes Albert's glasses, and I was like, wait, just one of your crewmates? I guess he was kind of nice to him. Like, they had a bond that they showed a little earlier.
they had a bond. I think they mentioned that Ethan was his apprentice, and it seems like he's kind of a fatherly figure in the absence of his own father.
Yeah, which kind of completely falls away after that first scene where, like, they meet in his room.
Yeah, it
but
does.
There's no more of that in the movie.
But you just grab the glasses, like, I mean, bring him on board.
I mean, he got shot in the stomach by a laser gun that should have cauterized him. Yeah, drag his ass onto the. Now there's like, fuck him. He's useless to us now. So yeah, Albert wakes up and he's like, I can't see. I'm alive. And now he's glowing, as he joked about earlier in the film. Yeah. I'm fucking alive. No.
I did have that thought. No one checked his pulse. No one checked anything.
Nothing. Yeah, it makes sense you're unconscious when your guts are shot and cauterized.
Yeah.
But we're also in space where you can grow something really fast. It feels like there might be the technology to heal a basic stomach wound.
Yes.
Yeah, maybe that was the thing. Maybe Ethan was like, I don't want this fucker to live. I'm tired of being the apprentice.
Not.
And I'll be the only reasonable person for Captain Bassett to bang on the ship. I doubt she's bedding down with Charlie.
God, I hope not.
I think maybe Ethan's a real piece of shit.
He might be the undercover villain of this movie.
Yeah. He's like, I'm no longer an apprentice. I'm going to bang Angela. Maybe we don't see it. Maybe he whispers something to Charlie to use him to press that button. Because why go back to Earth now when you've got Angela Bassett alone on your ship?
Right.
Maybe he's learned too many lessons from our former captain.
Maybe he did.
Maybe now he knows the universe is a place where you just take what you can while you can.
I guess. I mean, I don't think Angela Bassett is going to be taken unless she
would fuck him up.
To. Yeah.
But you can see the machinations of a devious young mind.
Right. Well, and if he's being sneaky about it, I'll play up this like kid, naive, innocent energy.
Yeah. Yeah, I think he's a real sneaky piece of shit. I think maybe there's more duplicity in this finale than we think on a surface.
Yeah,
view.
I think so too. I think so.
I mean, I could imagine, like betrayals and deaths to be with one Angela Bassett.
She's amazing.
She's a universe class woman for sure.
I love her.
Yeah, she's strong and powerful in this. You're like, fuck yeah, dude.
Yeah, she's great. I mean, we mentioned the shower scene. That's one of my favorite non kind of Crite involved scenes.
Oh yeah.
Because I love how the captain saunters in there thinking like, okay, I'm gonna enter this shower.
She knows that they're watching and talking.
Yes. And she knows the minute he comes in.
They must have been after her ass the entire time they've been out in space, right?
Yeah.
I mean, the cabin fever element of it, right? Like,
she's no fool.
She's no fucking fool. This must happen all the fucking time.
And she knows how to handle it.
Yeah, and she's like, fuck, I'll just fucking sock you right in the nose.
She knows how to shut that shit down. And I just love that, she's not a shrinking violet.
Do you think that was Angela Bassett or was that a body double?
I don't know.
It feels like on a low budget movie like this, you don't pay for body doubles.
Right. But, well, and yeah, I mean, she's still pretty early in her career. She hasn't had her big breakout roles. Because I was going to say, could they afford to pay her enough to be nude on screen?
Yeah.
But I don't know.
I feel like, the butt is different than the frontal.
Yeah.
Everyone's got a butt. It's nothing. Americans, we are so scared of the naked form.
It's so stupid.
It's so stupid.
I think it's stupid.
It's so stupid. Just be naked. It's fine. It's
fine.
Not like around children or schools, right?
Well, and here's
appropriate the thing. Body
nudity.
Showing.
This is such a Puritan, brutish nakedness does not automatically mean it's sexual. That a situation is sexual. Being naked does not automatically mean sex.
If you see a naked body, that there are those of us who cannot contain ourselves and will become howling cartoon wolves.
It's this invitation to sin.
Yeah. Maybe it is. I don't know. If you're doing it right.
This idea that like if you see a naked body, all of a sudden you won't be able to help yourself. It's automatically sexual, and because it's not.
It's not. What's wrong with you? What's the matter with you?
I'm just saying.
I agree. Yeah, it's astounding. It's bizarre. I don't know.
I don't know either.
I'm glad it's in there, right?
Yeah.
Like when I was coming of age watching these movies, you're like, I'll take it. As a young boy with no internet, you would just take.
Yes. Back before the proliferation of online
You're like
porn.
Indiana Jones. You're like, there's not that many artifacts.
No.
Right? Like if I see one, I have to dare a boulder and snakes. Like I gotta get artifacts where I can.
You know what I was laughing about? I was cruising around on Tubi because these Critters movies are on Tubi at the time of this recording. And I saw something pop up for Red Shoe Diaries on Tubi.
Hell yeah.
And I was thinking I need to revisit Red Shoe Diaries just to laugh.
Yeah. I mean, you would try anything.
This is how people used to get off when there was just so few options.
Young people that I hope have found the show. It was a dark time. I remember anime was like a sneaky good place to see boobs.
Right.
It was kind of sad. It was kind of sad, but that's what we had.
Yeah.
That's what we had.
For those of us who are fans of the phallus, there was even less.
Oh, yeah. There was it was so hard to find dicks. Like artistic dicks, right? You could find dicks in the wild wherever.
Right.
Not what you're looking for. Art
Not
dicks.
what you're looking for.
Yeah, art dicks. That's what we're looking for. It was hard, man. Yeah, you could just like be at a mall and accidentally see a dick. That's not what you were hoping for.
I could tell you some unfortunate stories.
Yeah, we want like an artistic European black and white dick. Where do you find that?
Yes.
Nowhere.
Tasteful
Dick. The dick is so rarely tasteful. That's what we were trying to achieve, right? There is a plethora of artistic boob. Not with the dick.
Not anymore.
It was a hard time. Carmelita, sum up for me Aliens 4.
You mean Critters 4?
Critters 4, yeah. See,
that's how far
the
they went in the alien direction.
That's how far they went. Sum up for me what you love about Critters 4 before we get out of here.
I love critters in space. It's a natural next place for the critters to go once we've exhausted Kansas. Critters in space is it's like a natural progression of the story. I love that we get a return to form for our unlikely hero, Charlie. I love that we meet these cool characters. I'm a huge fan of the Alien franchise, so I appreciated the nods to a franchise I love, linking these two franchises together in the most unlikely way, but it actually did work pretty well. Is this a perfect movie? No. Is this my favorite Critters movie? No. But it was fun to get to this point in the franchise, to expand beyond Kansas, to see more of space. This was fun to watch. Not the best, but a good time.
A good time. That's what I think. It's a return to the good times.
Yeah.
Right? Whereas Critters 3 is so stripped down, it's so bland and flavorless. This one at least solves that problem, right? The setting is fun. The cast is amazing. The Crites kind of come back to form and are much better. The puppets are great. And we get like a really nice... The score. Yes. Undervalued.
The score was excellent. Loved
Undervalued.
It.
And again, I think that final Charlie moment, man, like that's how you want your character to kind of go out if this is it for them. I thought that was great, man.
Yeah.
So that's it for Critters 4. That's not it for Critters. The Critters attack tomorrow, the final day of franchise coverage in the October Mega Marathon. We still have the rest of the month. You know the deal. 31 days, 31 pods. So every day this month, if you go to patreon.com/FilmAlchemistPod and support the show, you will have a new episode to talk about, right? So we got tons of good stuff. We'll have a commentary, 2 Patreon episodes. So this month especially, if you can support the show, that would mean the world to us, right? So go over there, just a couple bucks, help us out. Make sure you're telling all your friends what we're working on. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube, Film Alchemist. Make sure you email us, filmalchemistpod@gmail.com. Find us on all the socials, including TikTok. Make sure you're leaving 5-star ratings and reviews. Make sure you go to misfitparade.net so you can see our movies that we're making. Maybe meet up with us at a film festival. Make sure you check out the video work I'm doing on Looper. And most importantly, make sure you follow Carmelita on Letterboxd and Twitter @Carmelita Says. Thank you so much for doing this with us. I can't believe we only have one left.
Thank you, friend.
That's right. What other franchises have you done? You did Phantasm, and then others
Phantasm.
You just popped in on. You didn't do a whole other franchise, right?
No, I did some Hellraiser with you.
Yeah, a lot of Hellraising. That's right. So go back. Yeah, that's the nice thing about these. You can go back and find our October mega marathons of old. If you need more this time of year, a lot of people are doing like, I want to watch 100 horror movies, whatever.
Yeah.
We'll do that with you. We've got easily 100 now.
Oh, easily.
I think we got, almost 300 horror episodes. So go find us, guys.
Yeah.
Go find us. We'll see you tomorrow.